Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight here on Rajya TV. I'm Tracy Shilchi and in the next 30 minutes I'll be getting you through the day's top stories, starting with the headlines. India and Belarus signed 10 pacts in areas ranging from science and technology to manufacturing, also agree to increase cooperation on international fora. AIADMK removes Interim General Secretary VK Sasikala from the top post, also cancels TTV Dinakaran's appointment and all those done by him. Supreme Court to hear a petition demanding implementation of security guidelines in schools across the country. Ministries of Women and Child Development and HRD to also meet tomorrow to form new guidelines. And North Korea rejects fresh UN sanctions brought by the US against it, also warns America of dire consequences. China says latest sanctions must be fully implemented. Our top story, with a view to give a boost to expand influence in the Eurasian region, India signed 10 agreements with Belarus today, ranging from cooperation in science and technology to manufacturing. Both the countries want to move towards India-Eurasian economic cooperation, while Belarus is interested in free trade agreement with India via the Eurasian Economic Union. Akhilesh Suman reports that India is considering the proposal seriously. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko is on a two-day visit to India. On Tuesday, he engaged with Prime Minister Modi for a summit-level meeting in Delhi. After the meeting, 10 agreements were signed between the two countries. Belarus offered India its services in connecting with both Eurasian and European Union. The agreements included cooperation in youth and sports, skill development, science and technology, oil and gas, building construction, potash production, as well as oil engines, among others. Both countries decided to collaborate in other areas including pharma industries and heavy industries.
We reviewed the architecture of our partnership. We considered ideas and initiatives for further expanding it. We decided to enhance our interaction in all aspects of our cooperation. I found in President Lukashenko matching enthusiasm and desire to scale up our partnership for the benefit of our people.
С востока на запад, с юга на север, в этом месте создать научно-технологический индустриальный парк, где будут созданы самые выгодные условия для инвестирования.
The Belarusian president is visiting India on 25 years of diplomatic relations between both the countries. A commemorative stamp was released on the occasion. Defence manufacturing is an area of cooperation between the two countries, and New Delhi sought joint manufacturing in India as part of the Make in India program. Belarus, while agreeing on the proposal, also invited India to join as a free trade partner with the Eurasian zone.
We will also encourage joint development and manufacturing in the defence sector under the Make in India program. Last year, Indian companies made a positive beginning with 3 joint ventures in pharmaceuticals. Possibility for partnership also exists in manufacturing of tires, agro-industrial machinery and mining equipment.
По международной повестке дня у нас нет практически никаких расхождений. Мы договорились укреплять сотрудничество в рамках национальных организаций, активно взаимодействовать в поиске эффективных и отвечающих интересам всех государств решений глобальных и региональных проблем современности.
Earlier on Tuesday, Lukashenko was accorded a ceremonial welcome at Rashtrapati Bhavan. He then met President Rajnath Kovind and Vice President VK Sasikala, who apprised him of great trade opportunities in India and also the scope of people-to-people relations.
Belarus is situated at the junction of Eurasia and European Union. It also has very good manufacturing technology, even for the heavy industries. The relationship is growing and is good for India. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Television with camera person Manoj in Delhi.
Meanwhile, Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe will visit Ahmedabad on Wednesday to participate in the 12th India-Japan Annual Summit. While the summit meeting will take place on Thursday, Shinzo Abe and Prime Minister Modi will hold a roadshow on Wednesday all the way from Ahmedabad Airport to Sabarmati Ashram. The move is directed towards showing bonhomie between the two leaders. On the 14th of September, Abe and Modi will then attend the groundbreaking ceremony for the ambitious Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail project, commonly referred to as the Bulletin project. In the summit meeting, they will also review all aspects of the relationship and engage in giving impetus to cooperation in trade, economy and defense. Discussions on regional issues like South China Sea, Pakistan, North Korea and China will figure prominently.
Our shared values of openness, democracy and respect for the rule of law and a high degree of convergence in the political, economic and strategic interests provide an enduring basis for a strong partnership between India and Japan. And we are confident that Prime Minister Abe's visit will present an occasion to demonstrate this concretely.
The Union Cabinet has approved the release of additional installment of 1% dearness allowance to central government employees and dearness relief to pensioners. The decision was taken during a cabinet meeting on Tuesday. The hike in allowance will be effective from the 1st of July 2017 and will benefit around 50 lakh central government employees and 61 lakh pensioners. Further, the Cabinet also gave approval of the Payment of Gratuity Amendment Bill 2017 to be introduced in Parliament for the private sector employees. With the implementation of the 7th Pay Commission, the gratuity ceilings of central government employees got revised from 10 lakhs to 20 lakh rupees. It also gave its nod for giving off mobile towers of state-run telecom firm BSNL into a separate company.
1% dearness allowance इंक्रीज को एडिशनल को अप्रूव कर दिया है, जिसमें आपको जानकर खुशी होगी कि जो 7th पे कमीशन का रिकमेंडेशन आया है उसके लाइट में
कैबिनेट ने भारत संचार निगम लिमिटेड को भी ये अधिकार प्रदान कर दिया है कि वो एक सब्सिडियरी बना करके जिसका पूरा स्वामित्व भारत संचार निगम लिमिटेड का होगा, ये टावर की फुल पोटेंशियलिटी को हार्नेस करने का काम कर सके, क्योंकि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर शेयरिंग ऑलरेडी मंत्रालय ने पिछले दिनों उसकी अनुमति दी हुई है। लखनऊ, बाराबंकी, फैजाबाद, वाराणसी ये 323 किलोमीटर का रेलखंड है जो उत्तर प्रदेश के अनेक महत्वपूर्ण शहरों को जोड़ता है। अयोध्या, काशी और प्रदेश की राजधानी, उसमें लखनऊ बाराबंकी का एक हिस्सा और बनारस से जफराबाद का ये हिस्सा, इसका दोहरीकरण पहले हो गया था। पिछले बजट में 16-17 के बजट में इसके दोहरीकरण की स्वीकृति दी गई थी और आज उसे कैबिनेट कमेटी ऑन इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स ने अप्रूव कर दिया है।
Home Minister Rajnath Singh concluded his 4-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir today. Speaking to media persons in Jammu, Rajnath Singh said that the centre is trying to give equitable development to all the 3 regions of the state, Jammu, the Kashmir Valley and Ladakh. He said that the Union government has decided to give 3,000 jobs to migrants from the Kashmir Valley and 1,080 crore rupees have been sanctioned to the state under his head. He also announced that compensation for families who lose loved ones in ceasefire violations have been increased from 1 lakh to 5 lakh rupees. Referring to the increasing ceasefire violations, the Home Minister said that Pakistan is not showing interest in improving relations with India, adding that the Indian forces will create such conditions that they will be forced to stop violations along the LOC.
लगातार मैं देख रहा हूं कि 214 से हर वर्ष 400 से ज्यादा, 400 बार से कहीं अधिक सीज फायर वायलेशंस ये पाकिस्तान के द्वारा किया जा रहा है। और मैं कह सकता हूं कि अंततोगत्वा इस सीज फायर वायलेशन के सिलसिले को पाकिस्तान को बंद करना होगा, क्योंकि हमारी सेना हो अथवा हमारी बॉर्डर सिक्योरिटी फोर्स के जवान वो उन्हें मुंहतोड़ जवाब दे रहे हैं और ऐसे हालात पैदा करेंगे कि उन्हें मजबूर होकर सीज फायर वायलेशन आज नहीं तो कल बंद करना ही पड़ेगा।
Now to Tamil Nadu, and the General Council meeting of the unified AIADMK on Tuesday removed party's interim General Secretary VK Sasikala from the top. The meeting was led by Tamil Nadu Chief Minister E. Palanisamy at the party headquarters. It also cancelled the appointment of TTV Dinakaran and the appointments made by him. Here are more details.
The AIADMK party on Tuesday passed a resolution to sack jailed VK Sasikala from the post of General Secretary in a general body meet of the two factions in Chennai. It said the party cannot accept anyone else other than its eternal General Secretary, the late J. Lalita. The general body meet also annulled all appointments made by Sasikala and former Deputy General Secretary TTV Dinakaran. The resolution also said that the AIADMK will be a unified faction under the two leaves symbol. The party will now be run by Deputy Chief Minister O. Selvam as Chief Coordinator and Chief Minister E. Palanisamy as his assistant. Meanwhile, sidelined AIADMK leader TTV Dinakaran has sought to play down the unified AIADMK's decision, indicating court could have a final say on the matter.
It's not at all a General Council meeting. People who are attended are not General Council members, and moreover, General Council should be conducted only with the permission of the General Secretary.
On Monday, the Madras High Court upheld an order of a single judge dismissing a plea to stay AIADMK General Council. However, the court made it clear that any decision taken at the meeting will be subjected to the final outcome in the appeal and posted the matter to October 23rd.
Now, yesterday, if you see, the Madras High Court has given a statement that, you can conduct a meeting. Let us not term it as a general body or general council meeting. You can conduct a meeting, but you can't take any decisions. The decisions will be taken or will be considered following the verdict which will happen on the 23rd of October.
Leader of opposition MK Stalin has said his party will move a no-confidence motion against the government in the event of the assembly being convened. Earlier in the day, Stalin also moved the Madras High Court seeking a floor test in State Assembly. He also met Governor Rao to stress the need for an immediate floor test in the Assembly on Monday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The BJP today lashed out at Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi over his speech at a US university. Union Minister Smriti Irani said that the attempt by Rahul Gandhi to belittle Prime Minister Modi on foreign soil was deplorable. This after Rahul Gandhi criticized the Prime Minister for his handling of the economy and encouraging divisive politics in the country. Gandhi also remarked that India runs on dynasty, inviting huge criticism from the BJP.
A failed dynasty today chose to speak about his failed political journeys in the United States of America.
BJP leader and Union Minister Smriti Irani slamming Rahul Gandhi for his remarks on dynasty politics in India. She said the Congress Vice President's comment that dynasts and dynasties were the fulcrum of Indian democracy were an anomaly, as she went on to point out the modest background of the President, Vice President and the Prime Minister.
The fact that Mr. Gandhi chose to belittle the Honorable Prime Minister is not surprising, in fact expected. But what is to be said is that after failing to connect with the people of India, Mr. Gandhi chooses a platform of convenience for berating his political opponents.
Irani also took strong exception to Rahul Gandhi's attack on Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Today, the Honorable Prime Minister, born in a village in Gujarat to a poor family, is the Prime Minister after receiving resounding support from the people of our country. The President, born in a marginalized community family, today has risen the ranks on his own merit. The Vice President, born in the family of a farmer, after years of activism, is being blessed with the opportunity of leading the nation as the Vice President. These three dignitaries at the highest constitutional positions in our country are in themselves an indication that Indian democracy thrives and gives an opportunity to merit and is not beholden to dynasty.
The Congress defended the party vice president's remark.
Shri Rahul Gandhi's response to questions and a reference to dynasty. Yes, it's true. that there are dynasties in India. There have been dynasties in every country of the region, in Asia, in Europe, in Africa, in America. I'm talking of North Americas, both United States of America and Canada. That is what North America is, even if you look at today.
In his speech at the University of California, Rahul Gandhi had accused Prime Minister Narendra Modi of divisive politics, of creating space for terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir and ruining the economy with decisions like demonetization. Gandhi had also said that he was absolutely ready to take up an executive responsibility if his party asked him to do so. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to other news. In India's retail inflation in August jumped to a 5-month high of 3.36%, driven by higher food prices. Industrial output grew 1.2% in July. Consumer Price Index-based inflation continued to rise for the second consecutive month by 3.36% from 2.36% a month ago, as food inflation turned positive after 3 months of contraction. However, the index of industrial production grew at 1.2% in July from a contraction of 0.1% a month ago. Manufacturing sector also grew 0.1% against a negative growth of 0.4% in June. Mining production grew 4.8% in July from 0.4% in June. Meanwhile, an RBI paper released on Tuesday cautioned that the proposed farm loan waiver amounting to 88,000 crore rupees, likely to be released in 2017-18 by 7 states, could push inflation to permanent basis by 0.2%. Union Ministers Maneka Gandhi and Prakash Javadekar will hold a high-level meeting on Wednesday to set strict guidelines for schools across the country. Meanwhile, the Apex Court has agreed to hear a plea seeking implementation of the existing guidelines to ensure safety and well-being of children in schools across the country.
A day after Ryan International Group's founding chairman Augustine Pinto and his wife approached the Bombay High Court seeking anticipatory bail, the High Court on Tuesday granted them interim protection from arrest till Wednesday. This in connection with the murder of 7-year-old Pradyumna Thakur in the school's premises in Gurugram.
माननीय उच्च न्यायालय से ये कहा है कि जब सर्वोत्तम न्यायालय ने मुख्य चीफ जस्टिस चंद्रचूड़ और जस्टिस खानविलकर जब इस मैटर की सुनवाई कर रहे हैं, ये इस मैटर में ये कोर्ट कोई भी ऑर्डर ना पास करे जब तक कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ये मैटर सुनवाई कर रहा है, ये हम कहा और हमने बेल एप्लीकेशन का विरोध किया। राज्य सरकार ने ये कहा कि बंबई की सिमिलर केस में ट्रांजिट बेल के अंदर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बेल नामंजूर की थी और ये जो उनका युक्तिवाद था ये माननीय न्यायालय ने स्वीकारा नहीं। उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं, हम कल तक की इनको ये देते हैं, छुटकारा देते हैं।
In order to ensure the safety of students in educational institutions, Union Ministers Maneka Gandhi and Prakash Javadekar will hold a high-level meeting on Wednesday to develop a set of guidelines and protocols for schools. Officials of the Ministries of Women and Child Development and Human Resource Development, as well as representatives of the National Commission of Protection of Child Rights, CBSE, NCERT, Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan are expected to participate in the meet. Amid the ongoing investigation, the Apex Court has agreed to hear on September 15th a plea filed by 2 women lawyers seeking implementation of existing guidelines to ensure the safety and well-being of children in schools across the country. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's take you through some more national news updates in Nationwide. The Supreme Court has for the time being lifted its order of suspending the permanent licenses for sale and retail of firecrackers within Delhi NCR. This modifies its order of November last year. The court said that the lifting of the suspension of permanent licenses might require a review after Diwali, depending on the ambient air quality after the festival. The top court said that the committee appointed by it would furnish a report of its research on or before 31st of December. BJP President Amit Shah has been summoned by a special SIT court to appear as a witness in the 2002 Naroda Gam riot case. The court asked Shah to appear before it on the 18th of September based on a request by former Gujarat Minister Maya Kodnani. The court said that it will not reissue the summons in case Shah fails to present himself on a given date. Twelve fishermen from Rameshwaram were arrested by the Sri Lankan Navy near Tamil Nadu. They were arrested for allegedly crossing the international maritime boundary. As per reports, their boats were also seized. The Delhi High Court has given a go-ahead to the Delhi University to declare the results for the post of president in the DUSU election, voting for which was held today. The counting of the votes is scheduled for tomorrow. The order came after the university contended that partial counting of votes would not be possible as the polls were being conducted through EVMs, which consists of a single control unit. International news in another week, another round of sanctions against North Korea, and yet another time that Pyongyang has rejected them. North Korea has also threatened the US of consequences of bringing these sanctions against the regime. The North's only ally, China, meanwhile has asked that the sanctions be fully implemented this time.
North Korea has rejected the fresh set of UN sanctions against it, even warning the United States of dire consequences for its latest action against the country.
The DPRK is ready to use any form of ultimate means. The forthcoming measures by DPRK will make the US suffer the greatest pain it's never experienced in its history.
However, Pyongyang's only ally, China, once again walked the policy tightrope at the UNSC meeting, placating the US by voting for the sanctions, even as it insisted on watering them down. The second step to let Kim Jong-un know that China will not let him fall. However, Beijing has asked that the latest round of sanctions be fully implemented, as it sees this as a step forward in response to North Korea's nuclear plan.
我们希望各方都能够全面完整地执行决议。我们一再说过，一味的追加制裁，并不能从根本上解决半岛核问题，对话协商才是根本的出路。
The resolution, approved unanimously by the UN Security Council, has been welcomed by Pyongyang's neighbors.
北朝鮮に対する格段に厳しい制裁決議が迅速に全会一致でされたことを高く評価します。これまでにない高いレベルの圧力をかけ、そして北朝鮮の政策を変えさせることが大切です。
북한은 더 이상 국제사회의 단호한 의지를 시험하려 들지 말고 외교적 고립과 경제적 압박에서 헤어나올 수 있는 유일한 길은 완전하고 불가역적이며 검증 가능한 핵 폐기를 위한 대화의 테이블로 나오는 길뿐임을 다시 한번 강조합니다.
Monday's sanctions resolution was the 9th unanimously adopted by the UN's 15-member Security Council since 2006 over North Korea's ballistic missile and nuclear programs. The sanctions include a ban on condensates and natural gas liquids, a cap of 2 million barrels a year on refined petroleum products, a cap on crude oil exports to North Korea at current levels, and a ban on textile exports from North Korea. A tougher initial US draft was softened to gain the support of China and Russia. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, in the US, storm-hit Floridians returned to shattered homes earlier today as the remnants of Hurricane Irma pushed inland, leaving more than 65% of the state residents without power. Irma's storm surge saw many areas inundated, including historic levels in at least 3 counties. Here are more details. 10 people are dead across the United States, with 6 confirmed fatalities in Florida, 3 in Georgia and 1 in South Carolina as a result of the storm. U.S. Senators Marco Rubio and Bill Nelson undertook an aerial survey of the worst-hit islands of Florida Keys, the low-lying island chain south of mainland Florida, where winds at the speed of over 200 kilometers per hour lashed the island on Sunday. More than 4 million homes continue to remain without power throughout Florida, and more than 6 million people have been ordered to flee their homes. Florida Governor Rick Scott has said that the state has a long road ahead before it fully recovers from the impact of Hurricane Irma a day after the storm tore through Florida.
The water is not working, the sewer's not working, and there's no electricity. So it's very tough. The National Guard, and this is the Adjutant General Michael Calhoun, they've already gone all the way down the Keys, and all the bridges are passable, the roads are passable. However, there's clearly some bridge damage, there's clearly road damage. My heart goes out to the people in the Keys. I mean, there's devastation. And you know, I just hope everybody, you know, survive.
At least 40 people have died in the Caribbean since the deadly storm hit the islands last week. Irma killed at least 10 people in Cuba, 14 in the French island of Saint Barthélemy and Saint Martin, and 1 in Barbuda. Most of the deaths were either caused by collapsing buildings or electric shocks. According to experts, insured property losses in Florida from Irma are expected to run from 20 to 40 billion US dollars.
Basic property loss in terms of commercial production, factories, service industries, and what have you. In addition, you're going to have infrastructure damage and private property. So all combined, I think 25 to 30 billion is relatively low.
Irma has been downgraded to a tropical depression, having moved through Georgia and into Alabama by early Tuesday morning. Irma's arrival in Florida came around 2 weeks after Hurricane Harvey claimed about 60 lives and caused property damage estimated at $180 billion after devastating the Gulf coasts of Texas and Louisiana with heavy rains and severe flooding. Irma made its first landfall on Barbuda Island last Wednesday as a Category 5 hurricane with winds up to 290 kilometers per hour. Barbuda suffered absolute devastation with 30% of properties demolished and 99% of buildings damaged. Bureau Report, Sabha TV. And here are more updates from across the world in Global Buzz. British MPs voted in favour of a bill today to end Britain's European Union membership. It was a key moment for the government's Brexit strategy, despite the opposition's accusations of power grab. After more than 13 hours of debate, lawmakers voted by 326 to 290 in favour of backing the legislation. After clinching a narrow victory in Norway's legislative elections, Prime Minister Erna Solberg will now embark on a historic but fragile second mandate with a weaker majority and a less conciliatory allies. Solberg narrowly defeated a Labour-led opposition with her promises of steady management of oil-dependent economy. Reactions to her victory across Oslo's residents were mixed as she plans more tax cuts to stimulate growth. Pakistan's Supreme Court today accepted a plea to form a 5-judge bench to hear the review petitions of ousted Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, his children, son-in-law and Finance Minister Ishaq Dal. The petitions challenge Sharif's disqualification in the Panama Papers scandal. The panel postponed the hearing for Wednesday. And finally, let's get updates from the world of sports in SportsBeat. The Indian women's hockey team held on to a 2-all draw against Belgium junior men's team in a closely fought match in Antwerp. Nikki Pradhan and Vandana Kataria scored 1 goal each for the Indian side. The women in blue will now play Ladies Den Bosch in their 3rd match of the Europe Tour on Thursday. In the Korean Super Series badminton tournament, Indian duo Pranav Jerry Chopra and Siki R. Nelakurihi lost their mixed doubles match against Indonesian pair of Praveen Jordan and Debbie Susanto 21-13, 19-21, 15-21. The Indian duo started well but lacked consistency. The second set was a close call as Chopra and Nelakurihi in fact grabbed points at equal intervals but lost the set by 2 points. The final set belonged to the Indonesian duo, who defeated the Indians with a margin of 6 points. Los Angeles has received its formal go-ahead to host the 2028 Olympics, getting a thumbs up from the International Olympic Committee's Evaluation Commission. On Wednesday, the full IOC will award the 2024 Games to Paris and the 2028 Games to Los Angeles. LA will receive up to $2 billion from the IOC, which is up from $300 million more than it would have gotten for the 2024 Games. And that's all we get back in on the news tonight. Thank you for joining us. News.